Have released their latest surveys on the electability of presidential candidates and their running mates in the upcoming elections. Opinion polls conducted by three institutions, namely the Center for Strategic and International Studies CSIS, Indikator Politik Indonesia, and Polling Institute, show that presidential and vice presidential pairs number 2, Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming Raka, lead over two other candidate pairs with the electability of above 40%. Here are the details. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us on Focus Today.
namely Bangsering Underwater, which is a coral reef-based ecotourism. This tourism object presents an underwater natural attraction in the form of coral reefs that grows naturally and artificially. Stay tuned for today's journey of potential land. Earth is our home. However, the Earth's condition is increasingly in crisis. Therefore, we as humans must be wise to make good use of waste, as was done by the couple doctors Dr. Adanta and Dr. Adita. Stay tuned for today's journey of potential land.
Welcome back on Focus Today. Compilation of news from Indonesia, South Korea, Mongolia, and others are up next with Chris Casquejo in VOA Asia Weekly.
The Philippines tries to win the information war against an increasingly aggressive China in the South China Sea. Welcome to VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casquejo in Washington. That story is coming up, but first, making headlines. A furnace explosion at a Chinese-owned nickel plant in Indonesia this Sunday killed at least 18 people and injured 46 others. 4 Chinese and 9 Indonesian workers died instantly when the furnace exploded while they were repairing it. 5 others died later while hospitalized. This marks the 3rd deadly incident this year at Chinese-owned nickel smelting plants in Indonesia. On Wednesday, Japan's nuclear power regulator lifted an operational ban at the world's largest nuclear power plant complex. Tokyo Electric Power Company Holdings, the operator behind the Fukushima disaster in 2011, owns the plant on the north coast of Japan. But the company needs approval from local residents before the plant can reopen. Around 200 college students in Indonesia rallied on Wednesday, demanding that the government remove Rohingya refugees. The protesters marched to a local community hall in Banda Aceh, where about 137 Rohingya are taking shelter. The demonstrators threw out clothes and household items belonging to the refugees, forcing authorities to relocate them to another shelter. South Korean actor Lee Sun-kyun, known for his role in the Oscar-winning film Parasite, was found dead in a car Wednesday. The cause of death is presumed to be suicide, according to Seoul police. Lee had been under police investigation that he used illegal drugs, but claimed he was tricked into using them. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un held a meeting Wednesday with top ruling party officials. During the opening speech, Kim defined 2023 as a year of great turn and great change, both in name and reality, following the launch of North Korea's first military spy satellite in November. During the last year, China has intensified its harassment of much smaller Philippine vessels in disputed parts of the South China Sea. To level the playing field, the Philippines is turning to information warfare, as VOA's Bill Gallo reports from Manila.
A David vs. Goliath story just off the Philippine coast. Tiny Philippines boats are being rammed by much larger Chinese ships, which now fire water cannons at Philippines vessels on a regular basis. China has the clear military edge as it pushes its claims in the disputed South China Sea, but the Philippines has what they see as a big advantage, a better narrative. That's according to Commodore J. Tariella of the Philippine Coast Guard.
It's like an overkill for a superpower like China.
Tariella is part of a Philippine government task force that has started using information as a weapon against China. Not only does the government release videos of China's behavior, it goes out looking for them in increasingly sophisticated ways. Overhead, drones expose swarms of Chinese ships. Underwater cameras record Philippine Coast Guard divers cutting Chinese barriers. And the Coast Guard now takes boatloads of Philippine journalists to witness China's harassment firsthand. Bianca Dava is a Manila-based defense reporter. She says journalists did not have this kind of access under previous governments, which played down tensions at sea.
With reporters now being on the ground there in the West Philippine Sea personally, I think that increased the interest of the people in this kind of issue.
Chinese harassment is now a hot topic in local media. The Philippines has also received more support from like minded neighbors. That is a big change from the past, when Manila sought closer ties with Beijing.
We want freedom of navigation, we want a free and open Indo-Pacific, and a rules-based international order.
Those concepts are now more relatable, says Jonathan Malaya of the National Security Council.
These are complex issues that are not near the gut.
But bad PR alone may not be enough to deter China. It has become more aggressive, swarming contested areas with larger numbers of ships, raising the question of what else can be done to level the playing field. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Manila.
Visit voanews.com for the most up-to-date stories. I'm Chris Casquejo. And now we take you to China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Local herds have been dressed in colorful Mongolian robes performed the Subject 3 dance that swept across social media worldwide. Dancers showcase moves such as swinging their knees sideways, coupled with a series of hand actions. Thanks for watching VOA Asia Weekly.
Deep in the Amazon rainforest, Brazil is fighting destructive wildcat gold mining that has spread from indigenous lands into government-protected conservation areas. Federal police have joined the government's Biodiversity Conservation Agency on operations to catch illegal gold miners called garimpeiros in Portuguese and destroy their camps and equipment. Since leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva succeeded his far-right predecessors Bolsonaro, his government cracked down on mining on indigenous reservations, and miners have moved to other forests where there has been little enforcement. Lula vowed to stamp out illegal mining and end deforestation by 2030, a sharp reversal of the policies of Bolsonaro, who has criticized globally for relaxing environmental controls and allowing illegal loggers and miners free range in the Amazon. Storm has caused massive waves to batter the coast of California on Thursday, with meteorologists warning that worse is yet to come. Meanwhile, a plane made a rough landing at Heathrow Airport, London, due to Storm Garrett.
Storms in the Pacific Ocean whipped up coast swells that led to flooding, and evacuation orders were in place in several areas in Northern California. A high surf warning was in effect until early Friday for shoreline counties, along with the Central and Northern California coastline, breaking waves of 28 to 33 feet. Waves were forecast to reach as high as 30 to 40 feet or 9 to 12 meters off of the coast of San Jose, according to the website Surfline. A plane made a bumpy landing at London's Heathrow Airport on Wednesday as Storm Garrett caused heavy winds to batter parts of the United Kingdom. The storm caused travel disruption and damaged houses and cars in some places, with emergency services working to clear the affected areas.
Emergency services worked to clear damage caused by Storm Garrett on Thursday after strong winds battered parts of the UK. Meanwhile, in Hungary, Budapest faces unprecedented December winter floods as the Danube breaches its banks, reaching a decade height of 6.93 meters. Climate researchers Anakis anticipates increased winter precipitation and rising temperatures in northern and central Europe, possibly leading to earlier winter floods.
In a Staley Bridge in northwest England, roads were cleared into the tree surgeon worked to remove a tree that had fallen onto a car. Some houses suffered heavy damage, particularly to their roofs. Elsewhere in the storm brought heavy rain and travel disruption, particularly on Wednesday on December 27. While not causing major damage, after the Danube breaches its bank and caused the unprecedented December winter flood in Budapest, which reached decade high of 6.93 meters. Experts warn more frequent early floods due to the climate change. Climate researcher Anna Kiss anticipate the increased winter precipitation and rising temperatures of northern and central Europe, possibly leading to earlier winter floods. The community actively responded, with workers building ramps and deploying mobile dams. Hungary's General Directorate for Water Management reported the Danube peaked at 6.93 meters late on Wednesday, below the 891 meters recorded in 2013, when extreme flooding in Central Europe began after heavy rains in late May.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for building trust and hope in 2024 in his New Year's Eve message.
"2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence, and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together, we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development, and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful New Year.
Matsumoto Castle in Nagano, Japan has year-end cleanup to prepare for New Year festivities. Matsumoto Castle in central Japan had a year-end cleanup to prepare for the coming New Year festivities. The castle, a designated national treasure in Matsumoto City, Nagano Prefecture, is cleaned every year at around this time. About 30 people, including city personnel and volunteers, clean up 3 places such as the tower and the main door. The city workers use bamboo stick up to 6 meters long with bamboo leaves to clean off dust on the castle walls. After the cleaning, the city workers decorated the tower and the main door with sacred shime-nawa ropes of about 6 meters in length made by a group of local volunteers. Momose Kaomi, chief of the city's castle administration, said they have cleaned up the castle and are ready for the new year. He expressed hope that many people will visit the castle next year. At least 500 drones will light up the sky over the Hotel Indonesia roundabout to enliven the New Year's Eve celebration. Meanwhile, during Mona's Week, visitors can enjoy a video mapping and a dancing fountain show.
The New Year's Eve party at Hotel Indonesia roundabout in central Jakarta will be enlivened by a performance of 500 drones on Sunday, December 31st. The event will be organized by Jakarta.
The Jakarta administration will open 11 performance stages to celebrate the New Year's Eve in the Indonesian capital city's 2 main thoroughfares, Jalan Tamrin and Jalan Sudirman. Here is the locations of the performance stages in the capital city for those of you who happen to be in town. The stage performances might be one of great options if you decided to spend last days of 2023 and the New Year's Eve in Jakarta. In La Paz, an evangelical church hosted the Good Samaritan Project, offering hundreds of homeless individuals free showers, foods, clothes, haircuts, and toys. The initiative, aimed at restoring hope for those who have lost everything, was led by Project Director Efrain Alarcon. Evangelical volunteers actively participated in preparing food, organizing clothing and toy donations, and providing hair braiding services. Elderly homeless individuals such as Domitila Poma expressed gratitude for the assistance, including clothes and personal care products, highlighting the positive impact of such outreach efforts. Giant panda cubs are captured playing and frolicking in the snow in southwest China's Sichuan province, according to a video released by the iPanda channel.
Habitats.
Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi took the wraps off its first electric vehicle and promptly announced it was aiming to become one of the world's top 5 automakers.
The sedan, dubbed the SU7 with the SU short for Speed Ultra, is a highly anticipated model that Chief Executive Lei Jun touted as having super electric motor technology capable of delivering acceleration speeds faster than Tesla's TSLA 0.0 cars and Porsche's EVs. The SU7 will come in 2 versions, one with a driving range of up to 668 kilometers or 415 miles on a single charge, and another with a range of up to 800 kilometers. By comparison, Tesla's Model S has a range of up to 650 kilometers, although pricing has yet to be announced. China's 5th largest smartphones maker has been seeking to diversify beyond its core business to EVs amid stagnating demand for smartphones, which planned its first flag in 2021. Other Chinese tech companies that have partnered with automakers to develop EVs include telecoms giant Huawei, HWT-UL, and search engine firm Baidu.
Turkey's aerospace industry celebrated the maiden flight of its new unmanned fighter jet, Anka-3. The unmanned aircraft took off, conducted its first flight, and landed successfully, reaching a speed of 150 knots and an altitude of 8,000 feet during the 1 hour and 10-minute flight. Turkey's aerospace industry's employees were present at the event, applauding the achievement. The development and successful test flight of unmanned fighter jets mark advancements in Turkey's aerospace capabilities. Taking place in a small Spanish town called Ibi, the annual festival known as Els Enfarinats took place. Let's have a look. Participants, dressed in military uniforms and sashes, engage in a mock coup, hurling flour and eggs during the festivities. The tradition, dating back over 2 centuries, is observed on the day of the Holy Innocents. The event begins with Els Enfarinats taking over the mayor's office, establishing absurd laws, and confronting la oposición, or the opposition, with flour and eggs. Those who break the imaginary laws are fined in real money, which is then donated to charity. Samarinda weaving, one of weaving handicraft in East Kalimantan, is produced at a village in Samarinda, Seberang, which has recently emerged into a tourist destination in the city.
Weaving is a cultural heritage passed down from the ancestors. Almost all parts in Indonesia has its own weaving handicraft with specific characteristics. One of them is East Kalimantan, which is famous for the Samarinda weaving. Samarinda weaving has a relatively long history, which dated back to the arrival of Bugis people from Sulawesi, who then settled in a low-lying area that is known as Samarinda. The weaving culture that the Bugis people brought became the embryo of Samarinda weaving. Samarinda weaving is made with traditional non-mechanical loom called gedokan. The making of Samarinda weaving with the tool takes between 3 and 7 days, and sometimes weeks, depending on the pattern, intricacy level, and high demand. People can watch the making of Samarinda weaving at Samarinda Weaving Tourism Village in Pamana Village, Petanunan Eli, Samarinda Seberang. In this village, the sounds of gedokan reverberate from the houses. The weavers usually carry out their weaving activity from 9 a.m. to late afternoon. Samarinda weaving produced by the village residents have been sold in domestic and overseas markets. A Samarinda weaving crafter, Sumarni, who is also head of Prosperous Women Joint Business Group, said, Samarinda weaving has become a favorite item among Banjarmasin people, especially in the Islamic boarding schools communities. She hopes local government can include Samarinda weaving in various exhibitions, either in local, national, or international levels.
Football player J. Noah Isis officially obtained his Indonesian citizenship on Thursday. The naturalized player now is ready to play for Indonesia national football team in the next competition. J. Noah Isis officially became an Indonesian citizen after he took the oath at Jakarta Regional Office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights on Thursday. The defender of Serie B club in the Italian league FC Venezia was born in Netherlands in 1990. The 23-year-old football player has Indonesian ancestry from his grandfather and grandmother. According to a statement from PSSI.org, Jay expressed his gratitude to Chairman of Indonesian Football Association Erick Thohir and the government of Indonesia for helping the naturalization process. He said he is ready to defend the Indonesian national team in various upcoming matches. Novak Djokovic arrived in Australia and will prepare for a tilt at an 11th Australian Open title by representing Serbia at the United Cup Mixed Team Tournament in Perth.
Djokovic enjoyed a spectacular 2023, winning 3 out of the 4 Grand Slams, starting in his triumph at Melbourne Park, but unlike last season, when he was warmed up at Adelaide. 9 of the world's top 20 men's players, including 24 times major champion Djokovic, Melbourne runner-up Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece, world number 7 Germany's Alexander Zverev, and world number 11 Casper Ruud of Norway will play in the second edition of the $10 million event. World number 1 and French Open champion Iga Swiatek leads the big names among women as the world number 1 bids to guide Poland to victory as in the revamp event that will feature fewer matches this year, with the final in Sydney on January 7.
And that ends today's news on Focus Today. I'm Valerina Daniel. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu ibuku. Indonesia, kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah tanahnya, untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang tercinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang tercinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
Wow, that is a ginormous monument. Welcome to Taste and Culture. I am right now in Bangka Island, where I'm standing in front of the 0-kilometer monument. And the interesting fact about this is, the front part of it is in Arab language that means Haza Fulus, which means money or cooperation. And the back side of it is in a Hakka language or Chinese that says Pinlang or Pinang trees. How interesting is that? And as you can see, this monument, it's 4.8 meters in diameter and it weighs 600 kilograms. Wow! Okay, so you're ready for an adventure in Bangka? Stay with me on Taste and Culture. I'm Jovita Karen and I dare you to come.